As a generation living through an ever-changing society, today's youth struggle with issues that most don't know how to deal with pressures from school and social media, an unhealthy need to look perfect on social media, and a lack of interaction young people have had recently because of lockdowns. Young people are struggling, and over 75% of young people and children struggle with poor mental health. Children and young people who grow up with poor mental health have proven to be less resilient later in life and find it more difficult to work through problems, which can prevent them from growing into healthy and versatile adults. However, young people have been constantly working with ways to cope and improve poor mental health. One of the ways I've looked at is expression, specifically through music.
Hi, I'm Charlie Pickford. I'm 17 and I play the guitar and varied other instruments.
Hi, and I'm Michael, and I'm 17 as well, and I play electric guitar and sometimes a bit of drums.
In your personal experience, do you think expression, musical or otherwise, is something that you have found to positively affect you, and why do you think that?
Oh, for sure, yeah. I mean, I managed to, through COVID, focus much more on like my guitar playing and all of that. I think there's a lot of, even listening to a song invokes certain emotion. I think there's a lot of personal connectivity I have with music. And I definitely think it was a way out. It was a way to, take my mind, focus on certain things. At my other school with such limited amount of people, I didn't have the ability to share that expression with anyone. And, I'm here in A-levels and I've met Michael, and it's, the music world is unbelievably amazing. The connectivity through, playing and like jamming together is pretty unbelievable. You can create some amazing work, and it is a true expression. You speak to any of the guitarists, especially, Jeff Healey was blind and all of that, and he goes play the guitar, and there is such emotion and like power in it. It is phenomenal, and everyone can see that. Just listening to his versions of songs, it really shines through, and I definitely think it's a way. It's an out for many people. It's a way of, getting through things.
Yeah, I'd agree. Like through COVID and stuff, if you're like, you got nothing else really, and you kind of rely on music to kind of give you a bit of a way out of things that can be like a bit depressing. So yeah, and also just it's very inspiring, and you get to know a lot of people through playing music with each other and seeing each other's relations in terms of music tastes and stuff.
Music is a top-rated pastime for young people. Music making is also very important, as seen as a vital part of their lives. Research recently done by Youth Music states that making music makes young people feel worthwhile and helps explore their emotions. Young people are using music to help support and improve their emotional state and improve their well-being. Over 80% of young people said that music made them happy, and most said that they would be sad if they had to go even just a day without music. So if you're comfortable to answer, how have you as individuals struggled with your mental health?
I think very definitely the impact of school and everything, especially growing up. I think the type of school you're in, the people that surround you and all of that definitely have a large impact on mental health and your development as a whole. And I think that's like really crucial. Obviously, I grew up in a much smaller school, secondary-wise. I was at a private school with only 28 other people in my year. And that definitely did, affect me a lot. Same way it did everyone there, We don't have the sort of varied of personalities you don't have the various different like people. And I feel like that for many people, not necessarily me, because I didn't go to primary school. I was at a much more like state school beforehand. So I think for a lot of the people there, it has affected them greatly, in a way that they don't have like the developed social skills and everything, which definitely like causes a problem moving on to A-levels. I luckily haven't had that, but I think still being in that environment with such concentrated people, if you don't find the association with those people that you need, it can definitely cause some problems, which, I definitely have. I had problems where I didn't have the sort of people I wanted to be around in my school that I do now in A-levels, and that definitely had a big impact.
Yeah, I definitely see like social media as like another factor for mental health as well, because if everyone's on social media all the time putting things out about themselves and everyone's reacting to other people's lives, you can kind of sometimes lack motivation in certain things because you think you're like not good enough or you're not as successful as other people.
Yeah, and do you think personally that COVID-19 has worsened or improved your mental health, and how so?
I think it was tough for everyone. It was such a big change to start with. I think definitely it took away a lot of accessibility. You know, I mean, for people who struggle at home, for sure, that took away a big impact. But I definitely think it worsened. I think in some areas, I think it was actually quite beneficial. You know, the stress of going to school sort of taken away from a little bit. But after such a prolonged time, it has become a massive problem for people, and I definitely think so. I'm quite a social person. I like to be out. I like to be doing things, and I think it took away that, which really, you know, caused a lot of problems.
Yeah, and other things like uncertainty around exams as well. Probably for me personally, I definitely felt that because you didn't know what to expect with exams and how things would run. So it was kind of an uncertain period of time where you have online lessons and it wasn't quite normal when you weren't sure how things were going to turn out.
Sadly, young people's mental health needs are not supported early enough, and often young people only receive support when they have reached a crisis point. 2/3 of young people who need specialist support can't access it. Many young people have been told that they were not ill enough to receive support, and only less than 1 in 3 young people do have access to NHS care and treatment. These figures are terrifyingly low, which is why many people fight to have their voices heard and try to make a difference and support each other. Would you recommend musical expression to someone struggling with mental health, maybe low self-esteem or anxiety issues?
Yeah, I think so for sure. I think music is for sure a way to, you know, deal with emotions. I think, you know, like you have sad music, you have happy music. There are studies, you know, it has a huge impact on you, on yourself. You know, it can, in a sense, control emotion, really. I think musical expression is an amazing way out of things. Many people have used it as a way out of things. I mean, Bo Burnham, for example, is a huge example. You know, he was really struggling through lockdown, and he created the piece Inside, which had a load of songs which really expressed how he was feeling and everything through that, which was phenomenal. And you can see it through that. And he says himself many times, you know, it definitely helped them through everything. And I totally agree. I think there is such a great way of expressing yourself through music that should be, you know, given to everyone.
Yeah, I'd agree. So, like, it's like a whole new world that opens up. You've got all styles of music, whether it be like classical music and hard rock or whatever. It's kind of a way to express yourself and just be through the emotion in a way that you might not be able to get across through words. And it kind of puts you in your own world and you kind of focus in on the now rather than the past or the future and things like that.
Yeah, and when you are feeling in a low place or not quite yourself, what kind of music do you prefer to listen to, and like how does that help you?
I find a lot of times personally, you know, the type of music I'm listening to is obviously greatly affected by, you know, the state and all of that. For me, I think there's all ranges. I massively listen to any genre of music. I find when I'm in a low mood, like indie music is a good way out of it because it tends to be very mellow, but also in a positive way, you know, something that can pick you up, because so there's always obviously the issue of if you listen to all this depressing music in a depressing state, it will depress you further. Obviously that's not a proven thing, but you know, it has such control over your emotion. I think it definitely has an effect.
Yeah, I think when I'm in that sort of situation, I listen to like a new sort of music, so something that I haven't heard before, because then it kind of opens up like a new realm and you experience different sort of bands and music, and it can kind of be a bit more interesting and liven up the mood, I think. So styles of music, I listen to a varied style of music, but often I actually listen to quite upbeat music like Charlie said, and it kind of just lightens the mood.
Yeah. How would you try to motivate someone who wants to make music but thinks it's too difficult to learn?
All I'd say is, just give it a go. What's the worst that can happen? You can create a phenomenal piece that can help you express yourself, and it can be your personal project, something for you to work on, or it could turn out to be rubbish. You're not losing anything from it, which is why I think it's definitely a thing everyone should try.
Yeah, you're only missing out on good opportunities. I mean, you can progress at whatever rate you want. You can join other people that play with your ability and stuff like that. So, I mean, there's never a point where you completed your instrument to perfection. Like, there's always room for improvement. So if you're going into thinking you're going to play music perfect in a few years' time, it's not right. So you go into it, you're going to progress, and you'll progress throughout your whole life. It's something that sticks with you. So it's always worth starting something and sticking with it, because eventually it will pay off.
And do you feel that using music has paid off for you?
Oh, for sure. I certainly think so. It's not only, just like Michael said, it's a project that I'm constantly working on. It's a lifelong thing. I'm never gonna hit. Yeah, you hit the creative blank walls and you don't really know where to go. But I think it's definitely a great project. But also being self-taught, I progress at any level I want. If I want to put the effort in, I'll get better in a quicker span of time. If I don't want to put the effort in, I will just stay where I am, really. But it's a project that I can always work on. It's a very personal thing. It's me. It's not like I'm teaching someone. I'm teaching myself, and I'm working on. And I definitely think it's an amazing thing.
Yeah, for me, it's absolutely paid off, because literally all the experiences that I've had for the past few years with different bands, meeting different people, hosting events, and all sorts of experience, I definitely wouldn't have had that without music and collaborating with other people that I wouldn't have otherwise, like Charlie.
Yeah, and what coping strategies, when it comes to low mental health or poor mental health, do you have that aren't necessarily music involved that you would recommend that you think would help others?
I think just a great thing to keep in your head, during any sort of period of time is, to get out of, a low state. You have to work forward. That's it. You have to work on these things, rather than sitting in your sorrow, so to speak. It's always a thing. You gotta work on it. You can do your research, you can find any sort of things, meditation's great, all of these different things. You find what works for you, but as long as you keep in your mind that if you sit there, it's not going to go. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I found that I think, is my mood useful? Is it useful to myself? If I'm in a low mood, I'm not going to be productive, I'm not going to do things I want to. So actually, it's not very useful to me to be in a low mood. So I think, let's maybe be more productive, and that boosts your mood and further along like that. Yeah.